I'm Gloria Strode and welcome to Straightforward. Today we have a very special treat for you. Our very own Dr. Tamara Huff. Welcome, Tammy.
Thank you so much.
I am so proud. I am so excited. I can't even put it into words. Seriously. You went from being this wonderful, attentive, responsible young lady to an orthopedic surgeon. And my best story about you, and I keep repeating it to anybody that will listen, is I told your Uncle Bruce Huff, who is one of our city council representatives, when you were a little girl, and you know, we did some things together in the community and people needed to track down Bruce or your dad, Charles, you called the funeral home and you would leave the message because you were working as the receptionist, probably for no pay, but you were there handling things. And if we left the message with you, this is true, the message was always accurate. They got the information. If you left it with some of the older people, they didn't quite pay attention to detail. So my theory is that is part of what trained you in being a doctor, because being an orthopedic surgeon, you have to pay attention to details.
You have to.
Right, because we want to make sure that you're fixing what we're supposed to get fixed. So your family legacy is so great. You have a wonderful mom and dad. Of course, your mom is our tax commissioner. Your dad is from a legendary civil rights family, as well as your mom, historic family funeral business. You were destined for greatness. So you were told from a child that you had to have a plan, I'm sure. So how did we get to the doctor?
I think it's so important to set those expectations for greatness. And I was very blessed to have both Charles and Lula Huff, my father and my mother, that always believed in me. So the first time I became interested in medicine and actually in orthopedics was back in middle school. And when I was actually all the way back then, I was actually playing soccer, going to Brookstone, and injured my knee. And that's when I met Dr. Emory Alexander and had an opportunity to shadow him, to shadow some other orthopedic surgeons in the community, and that's what solidified my interest. And that's one of the reasons why
that early.
And that's one of the reasons why I feel so committed now to letting students shadow me, to working with high school and also high school, college, and medical students shadow me often, just to have an opportunity to get that exposure, because without that, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Exactly. And of course, Emory is, eventually you graduated from Carver. Your mom is our tax commissioner, and she was a very wise person and moved you over to Carver, which is where I graduated from, as well as Dr. Alexander.
Yes, he did.
But you had the will to want to learn more as a middle schooler. Mom didn't hold you hostage to say you need to follow around Dr. Alexander. You were really interested because of your own personal injury.
Yes, and that was the initial entrance. And then I was very blessed again at Carver High School with Miss Doris Ford that was over at Health Occupations. We had an amazing program where you could go shadow a physician for several days a week. So I had an opportunity, as he grew his practice, to be right there side by side.
So you could leave school and go work at Emory Alexander's office?
Yes, in the afternoon. So it gave me a chance, a hands-on opportunity. And I think that's what's so important when you're trying to empower youth, when you're trying to get those kids motivated. You have to expose them to things, and you have to find that thing that makes them passionate. And I think once you spark that passion, that interest in the child, they'll take it the rest of the way. So yes, I was self-motivated, but I found my passion much younger than most people do. And that's the importance of exposing young people to things.
And so you had great mentors, and of course, you know, the village always just loved you because you were such hard-working and dependable and that kind of thing. So when you're at Carver, and following Emory, Dr. Emory around, who's a Carver grad, got to keep saying that, following him around, what did you see at an early age that said, I can make a difference? Because now we're senior citizens, your parents are too, but a lot of our friends are having knee replacement, hip replacement, and so those are the kinds of things that you saw at an early age.
Yes.
Wow.
So, and I think that's what's so interesting about orthopedics. Medicine in general is terrific, and a lot of people say when they want to go into medicine, they want to help people. But one of the unique parts of orthopedic surgery is we mend the broken. You are fixing someone, so you go from not being able to walk to being able to walk, and that was something that was really fulfilling for me. So not only are you giving back in your community, but it's very tangible. Also too, I grew up working with my hands and working with my mother and
oh, I know. You probably never slept. That is the workingest woman, I tell you. She's a woman of many skills and talents, and I would tease her when she would be out walking the grand dog. See, you didn't know I knew about the grand dog. I would visit, you know, my very dear friend that's a neighbor of your family, and I would see your dad or your mom walking the grand dog, and I said, oh, he says, oh, this is Tammy's dog. I said, so she'll probably never get it back. He says, no, I've had it too long. She won't get it back. So, but they're always working people, you know, besides the family business. Your dad does promotions, and this is a little known fact that you didn't know about him. When I was at Albany State University, did you know he was a photographer that actually got published in Jet?
Yes.
See, so
Beauty of the Week.
Yes, yes. So that's a part of his legacy, and people that might not be as old as us might not know that about Charles Jr. And so even back then, just like yourself, they were doing many things, many professions. And so you started young, determined what you want to do, but did you work at every other things besides the orthopedic as you were coming through school?
Yes, I feel very passionate about knowing every step of processes. So while I thought, gosh, this is the most interesting thing in the world is to do surgery, to see that carpentry kit basically of what we do in there, I also spent time helping out and volunteering in the emergency department.
Really?
I actually was a physical therapy aide when I was going through high school and working through high school. So I feel very passionate, and that's one of the reasons why I believe so much in comprehensive musculoskeletal care, because I literally volunteered or worked in every aspect in the PACU unit. So where you go after surgery, I volunteered there.
Okay, so PACU is physical therapy?
PACU is actually after surgery.
Really?
So you've mentioned all the different places that kind of led me to where I am.
Right.
When I make a big decision, I like to look at all those different aspects of it. So I volunteered in the emergency room. I volunteered with the nurses before and after surgery. I had a chance to shadow a doctor in the operating room. I had a chance to see the clinic patients. And I worked as a physical therapy aide. So when I made that decision to go into orthopedics, I was blessed with having the opportunity to see every single aspect of it. And I think I fit best as a surgeon.
Exactly. So it was no guesswork. Exactly. You had been there hands-on, up close and personal, to see every phase that the patient went through. And so you were ready. So when you made that decision, you were very confident. You didn't have to convince anyone. Your parents knew that you had really prepared and done your homework. I think that's exciting. And I'm excited that you're here today to share with our young people, because we have people that's fourth year in college and still haven't decided on a major. So I'm the old grandmother that's trying to figure out how that can happen. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to our break, to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Okay. We'll be right back after a word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Chalk by Quincy, introduces Excellence Redefined, timepieces of the finest technology, luxury, and class with tons of style at chalklifestyle.com. Renal Associates, LLC, a team of physicians dedicated to excellent kidney care with 5 convenient locations to serve you. Stark Avenue, Columbus, Bradley Park, Columbus, Lafayette Parkway, LaGrange, East Burkhalter Avenue, Buena Vista, and Springs Street in Warm Springs. A second chance criminal record relief. Laws have changed in your favor. Attorney Jennifer Dunlap is offering assistance in removing felony and misdemeanor convictions from your record. Services are available for a limited time only. Call Attorney Dunlap today to see if you qualify at 706-405-0393 or visit secondchancelaws.com.
Walmart's reason for supporting Thurgood Marshall College Fund is simple. We like to win. And we have been given a lot of exposure to some incredible talent. And we also believe that it's a part of our responsibility to the community to give back. This is a great opportunity to do both. It's been a wonderful experience for us through the years. We've appreciated our partnership. We believe in return on investment, and we have definitely had a remarkable return.
HIV and AIDS affects us all.
My dad talks to me about HIV because he cares.
It may not be easy to talk about HIV, but we must talk openly about it.
Anyone can get HIV. It doesn't matter your age, gender, or sexual orientation.
Talk about HIV with your friends and family.
We can stop HIV one conversation at a time.
Get the facts and tips on how to start your conversation at cdc.gov/oneconversation.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm so excited to have Dr. Tamara Huff, our own orthopedic surgeon, our local girl that gave up the big life and came back home so she could take care of us. We are all senior citizens now, and some of us need knee replacements, some of us need hip replacements. I'm not there yet, but should I have my own personal physician.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely. So we were saying before we went to the break, you had a passion, a vision, and a plan. We have a lot of young people, they want to go to post-secondary education, but they just get in college and they just linger and linger and linger, and that's very expensive these days. So what can you tell them? What can you tell their parents? Because it has to be frustrating for your parent if you've been there almost 4 years and you've changed your major, what, 2 or 3 times? So what can you say to them?
Find your passion. And finding your passion, look at what really sparks that interest in you. And don't be afraid to move outside your comfort zone.
Ah, that's the key.
That is, there in orthopedics, there are a great variety of different people that do orthopedics, but classically, orthopedics is a man's field. I'm the only female orthopedic surgeon currently practicing here in Columbus.
Really?
So there aren't a lot of us. It's about 15% women in the entire country. So when we talk about that, you can't be afraid. If you're interested in something, who cares if there's anybody that looks like you in it? If you're interested,
blaze the trail.
Take that step out. And then once you find that passion, before you know it, you're moving through school, you find what you need, and you get out.
Oh, okay. And so you are doing a lot. Of course, besides working, you all are hardworking people, but you all do take time for adventures. You and your dad somewhere in the desert on the beach. You and your mom in New Orleans. You were doing something with school, medical school in New Orleans. And then working hard. You all work hard and you play hard, which is a good thing. And you have this great relationship with your parents, you know, and your family, entire family, they all support you. So when you went to New Orleans, did you get the big speech? Because going from Columbus to New Orleans is a big change. So how did you manage that?
Well, I had a couple of steps before New Orleans.
Okay.
So I graduated from Carver, went to the University of Georgia, finished Georgia, and then went to the Medical College of Georgia in Augusta.
Really?
After I finished medical school at the Medical College of Georgia, then I went down to New Orleans. And
so you were kind of ready.
Oh, yes. And
Yeah.
Yes, and I love New Orleans. I still go back there quite often, but I did a lot of work down in New Orleans.
Right. So you knew what the mission was.
Oh, the mission was
and
very
you were
clear.
mature. You were mature enough at that time. So you are a University of Georgia grad.
Yes.
Oh, very good. And so then from there to the Medical College of Georgia, which we do have quality education in the state of Georgia.
Very much so.
We don't have to leave and
Quality
go.
public education.
Oh, I love that. Quality public education in the state of Georgia. And then from there you went to New Orleans.
Yes.
Okay, tell me what it was like and why did you go to New Orleans?
So I went to New Orleans to work at Ochsner Clinic Foundation in New Orleans. Now they have satellite hospitals throughout the state, but I was mainly in New Orleans. And one of the great things about New Orleans and about Ochsner in particular is we have every subspecialty of orthopedics represented. So I trained on everything from adult reconstruction, which is mostly what I do now, to hand surgery, to trauma, to spine, to tumor, to sports medicine, pediatrics. We do the whole gamut, and that's something you just don't find in a lot of programs. And many people who have trained in New Orleans, where they trained at Tulane or LSU, will tell you the same thing. It's just a great environment to get your orthopedic training because of the variety of patients
Right,
you
and
see.
so it's a city that's a melting pot.
Yes.
So you had good food, you met good friends along the way that will be great friends, but then you had this quality educational experience.
Exactly.
Working with from children to adults.
Exactly.
Really?
So that's the wonderful part is you get that comprehensive spectrum. And one of the other great things about it is we also had the opportunity to go outside the just city. So we went down to Thibodaux and Tahoma, Louisiana, which are more down in the bayou. So you learn to deal with a variety of people from all walks of life, all ages, and you understand those unique challenges that everyone faces. And it really makes you a more well-rounded physician and person, to be honest.
It really does, because if you're only working with everything that's perfect in a box with the ribbon, that's different than working with people who might not have health care, don't have resources, never even heard of physical therapy, and so you had to work with the whole person to bring them up to maybe where folks were more educated and understood.
Exactly, and you do have the whole range, because at the same time, the physicians I worked under were the team docs for the Saints and for also the Pelicans. So you saw every one extreme to the other. So it was really a great training experience.
So you were able to be right there with the sports medicine, took care of kids, old people.
The whole variety.
Everything. And so how long were you there?
So I was there for 5 years.
Really?
Yes.
Did it go that long?
Yes.
You know, I keep telling you, you know that it did. But in my mind's eye, I keep seeing you as this little girl answering the phone down at Mr. Charles' funeral home. So you're not that. You are this brilliant young woman that we're so proud of. But 5 years, it just seems to me that it didn't. Of course, I wasn't in school, but really, 5 years.
And the great part is while you're doing that, you're constantly doing research. So you mentioned my mom and seeing the great pictures of our family.
Of your family, yes.
Well, during that time, we also do research during when we're in residency, and I had an opportunity to present work on blood conservation and total joint surgery in Sydney, Australia. So one of the pictures you may see were when we presented internationally our work in Sydney, Australia.
So there was a conference you were in, you had your poster.
Yes.
That was it?
That was in Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
So we were talking about how do we minimize blood loss in total knee surgery. And these are international opportunities, and that was what was so fascinating. So not only are you getting the opportunity to see patients at all different levels, during that time I had a chance to present my own research. I began working with the Diversity Advisory Board with the American Academy of Orthopaedic Surgeons. We're constantly getting out there, so it was great.
God, my goodness. So we have one of the best. So if they called you today and said, Dr. Huff, we'd like for you to join the Olympics, you could do that.
That's the great part of it. That's the great part of it, because you have that background. I mean, even though I'm back here in Columbus, I had a chance, when I left New Orleans, I went and worked with Mayo Clinic between Jacksonville and also down in Waycross, Georgia. But during that time, I continued to stay involved nationally. So it's nice to be able to be on that cutting edge, because I can bring that back home now.
Yes, I mean, really, we stole you back from them. So that was wise on our part, because sometimes they say, our very talented people never come home, but you did, and we're happy about that. Okay, we're going to go to our final break, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Warrior Outreach. Contact Command Sergeant Major Retired Sam Rhodes or Kathy Rhodes. Freedom Printing for all of your designer printing needs. Gunboat Plaza, Suite 18. Thai Cuisine, the area's only authentic Thai restaurant. Open for lunch and dinner, Monday through Saturday. Located in the Village Green Shopping Center on the 280 bypass in Phoenix City. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Best Care, transforming minds and bodies, leading the way in the latest techniques of medical weight loss and wellness. Certified in family medicine and bariatrics, Dr. Blunt is ready to assist in the transformation of your mind and body. Call today, 706-221-6477, or visit bestcarecolumbus.com. East Alabama Endocrinology, educating and caring for those living with diabetes in Alabama and Georgia. 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika. Take charge of diabetes and live your best life.
History is important because it shows where you're coming from and where you're going. Type 2 diabetes is something that runs in my family, which means I'm at risk. In fact, 1 in 3 American adults are at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And knowing this, if I do nothing, that family history becomes my family's future. And my family is too important to me for that. Take the risk factor assessment today at AskScreenNo.com.
I'm Drew Brees, and being a dad means the world to me. And one of the most important things any parent can do is make sure their kids get active at least 60 minutes each day. Studies show that physical activity not only helps kids stay healthy, it can enhance important skills like concentration and problem solving, which can improve academic performance. This means physical activity can help your kids in the most important game of all, life.
Welcome back to Straightforward. I'm really enjoying this great conversation with our very own Dr. Tamara Huff, orthopedic surgeon. I just love saying that. It's so exciting. And of course, I know your grandparents, the paternal and the maternal, would be so very proud of you. They gave so much to this community, and you have more than made them proud because they set the bar real high.
They did.
And we always laughed about your paternal grandmother, who was an educator, Miss Melinda H. Huff. And she would say, be careful who you follow. And so all of those lessons, you know, they help this community go forward, wonderful civil rights activists. But now you have come back, and we stole you from the Mayo people, and you've come home so you can take care of this community, educate us. You're doing great community education, webinars. So share with our audience what you're going to be doing with that going forward.
Definitely. While, just like we talked about before, I do comprehensive orthopedic care, I do have a special interest and a special joy in women's health, and especially in knee replacements and hip replacements. So we'll be doing all kinds of educational opportunities. The ones I've done so far have been mostly on knee, but we'll also be talking about hip arthritis and how to prevent and treat that. We'll also be talking some about bone health, which really does start when you're in your 20s, especially for us ladies. So fracture prevention and osteoporosis and how to keep those nice strong bones. I'm also interested in geriatric orthopedics. So heaven forbid you do have a hip fracture. How do we get you past that?
Right.
So how do we get you back into your own home?
Right, and that's
lifestyle?
important. Yeah,
Very.
because if people take the fall a lot, you know, sometimes they have to go to a nursing home, rehab, that's not good. Some people never bounce back from that. What should we be doing about our shoes? I know people that are getting shots in their feet. Is it because we're wearing the wrong shoes? We're too vain, trying to be too cute for too long? So why are we having, I know a lot of us are overweight, we need to lose some weight. Why are we having all of these replacements?
Well, when it comes to shoes, comfort is really important. Now, as a young lady that may like a heel or two myself, I can't say too much, but comfort is number one.
Okay.
And your feet are so important. You brought up a good point about how does that affect replacements and things like that. It really is like the hip bone is connected to the knee bone. So if you're not walking balanced, if you feel like one leg shorter than the other, it will affect your knees. So whenever those kind of things happen, sometimes it's worth going to your orthopedic surgeon or even to a physical therapist afterwards to work on alignment and working on getting that core nice and strong to get your balance back.
Yeah, because sometimes we have women that's tipping. We see those shoes, the stilettos, they're beautiful.
They're so beautiful.
They are, but it comes with a price if we're not careful. We got to take care of our feet, and like you said, the hip bone is connected
it's
to.
All connected.
It's like
really
that song.
It really is all connected.
connected.
And the more time goes by, the further along I get, the more you see it over and over again.
Right. And so the arthritis, I keep hearing a lot about that, and it's not just old people.
You're absolutely right.
It's a lot of young people that have arthritis now.
Most definitely. And when we talk about arthritis, there's so many different types, but the most common one that we're talking about when you say arthritis is osteoarthritis. So that's multifactorial. That can be from age, that can be from wear and tear, but also we know that women tend to have more arthritis and worse arthritis than men do. In fact, African American women have worse arthritis and more arthritis, especially before we go to get our knees done.
Right.
So there's so many different factors.
Right. And so one thing that will help us too with our knees is we have to take off a little weight, because sometimes as we get older, we're, you know, not as physically fit as we should be. And I've had a couple friends that say, well, they said if I lost weight, I wouldn't need the knee replacement.
And that's actually the case for young people as well. What many people don't realize is your knee is a fulcrum. So basically, your knees see anywhere between 4 to 6 times your body weight. And if, when you're going up and down stairs or kneeling, or if you're at church or anything like that, your knees are seeing about 10 times your body weight across it.
Right.
So you can see how even gaining 10 pounds can cause a problem.
Right, and that's where I struggle when I try to get up from the altar on Sunday. I have to grunt now when I get up, you know, and then I have to brace myself when we're getting up and down for prayer. So that's very important that you, and it's what, 10?
Anywhere from 6 all the way up to 10 times your body weight.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So these are the things that you're going to be telling us about in community events.
Exactly, those kind of key things. Also, too, I spend a lot of time talking about preventing you from coming to see me.
Okay.
So we talk about knee-friendly exercises. So getting on that bicycle, whether it's a stationary bike or a regular bicycle, walking at like Lake Bottom with a nice packed dirt down there.
Right.
All those different opportunities, even yoga, Tai Chi, and walking in the pool. You don't have to necessarily be swimming if you don't want to mess up your hair. If you walk in the pool, all those are great opportunities to give your knees and your hips and all your joints the motion they need without the pounding on them.
Okay, well, this is all good stuff. So we're going to be watching for all of the community education events, whether it's in person or webinars, and of course that's all free.
Yes,
okay.
all that is free.
Well, tell people where they can find you, because we want to make sure that if they need an orthopedic surgeon, we have our very own Tamara Huff.
Well, I'm over at St. Francis Orthopaedic Institute, right there on Manchester Expressway. Our website is mystfrancis.com. You can find me on my personal website at www.tamerahuffmd.com. Also, too.
Oh, that's wonderful. TameraHuffMD.com. I love that. I love it.
And on there, I also post information about patient education opportunities, and I'm also on Twitter as well. So I always try to get information out there. Also, too, and I didn't mention it earlier, but we will be hopefully reaching out to some young people, so some of the high schools and things, to get out there to expose young men and women about the great career of orthopedics.
Yes. Well, I think that's awesome. Of course, I'm one that like to connect people with people. I know a couple college students, when they come home from the break, one wants to be a physical therapist, then they need to be reaching out to you, seeing if they can come by and just chat with you, because I want them to be as prepared as you were. So when they leave college, they understand when they have to go to the next level, what it's going to take to be where Tamara is today. I tell you, I'm excited. You have made this community proud. Certainly your mom and dad, in which they are awesome people, but your entire family, your grandparents on both sides. I mean, you are one of the children from the village, and you've really just made us very proud. I can't say it enough. I thank you so much for joining me today and giving us this opportunity to share your success with our community.
Thank you.
No, thank you, and you'll have to come back.
Would love to.
All right, thank you. All right, this has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.